Hello everyone, welcome back to Sri Talkies, welcome back to the channel. To anyone who's new here, my name is Srijana and I am based out of Toronto in Canada. I'm a licensed immigration professional running my own consultancy firm here, and if you need any immigration assistance, etc., please do reach out. I'm more than happy to be your legal representative here in Canada. Today is just, guys, I'm doing an informal sort of chat with you guys. It's been a while. I hope you guys are doing well. Aap sab kaise ho? Please let me know how you guys are doing, what's been going on. I'm here just to have, a quick conversation and tell you guys about everything that's going on in the world of immigration. So we'll just discuss things that are topical, things that you will benefit from knowing, especially because you guys look like an audience that's interested in Canada as a destination and interested in coming here perhaps, even if you aren't, and even if you're just kind of curious about what's happening in sort of the Canadian landscape, then it might be an interesting session. So I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you guys for your continued support, for whoever's been watching me a while and whoever's been following me. If you guys want videos on any specific topics, etc., then let me know in the comment section, and I will definitely take some time out to talk on these topics that you guys suggest. Okay, so having said that, let's get started with the few important things that are going on. So the first one, of course, is the backlog situation. If you guys follow the Canadian immigration system closely, you might be aware that at the moment still, Canada does have a lot of applications in the system, in the pipeline. So we're talking of about 2.6 million applications that are in the system. So to anybody, listening to this, of course, it's a lot of applications. And the Canadian government has said that only about 1.1 million applications are being processed, as per standard delivery or processing timelines. So the bulk of the applications are still not meeting, projected timelines, etc. So there is a lot of inherent delays with application processing. However, the government is doing stuff to kind of now turn this around, and they have hired a lot of officers. They have this whole sort of backlog reduction plan or footprint, and there's a lot of money and resources and training, whether in Canada or in visa offices outside of Canada, that the government is kind of focusing on to bring about a reduction and quicker processing timeframes. And as a professional myself, I can vouch that there have been a lot of decisions that have come through recently, that applications are slowly now being sort of churned over a lot faster. There are lots of applications that I've been waiting on for months as well for a lot of my clients, and I have seen a flurry of activity in the recent sort of few days and weeks. So things are looking a lot brighter as far as backlogs and processing timeframes are concerned. But of course, a lot still remains to be done, and applications, the bulk of applications that come to IRCC are being delayed quite a bit. Now, the other sort of news around backlogs is the use of analytics. So we already know that the immigration system is using VB systems like Chinook, etc., to do some sort of a triage, so that the processing so that the whole processing time frame becomes much shorter, because when an officer gets an application, there's already a whole lot of preloaded information about that application. So IRCC has said that they will continue using these analytics and these tools, particularly in the world of temporary visa applications. So that is visitors, if study permits, work permits, etc. They are going to use analytics a lot more widely, so that by the time an application gets to an officer, they have all of the information necessary to make a decision, and then it's only sort of the subjective element of that decision making that then lies in the hands of the decision maker or the officer, right? So that's on the use of analytics in immigration. All countries are doing it. Canada, of course, has been using it quite extensively as well, and it's only likely to increase from here on. The second area is, of course, express entry draws. So a lot of you watching might be very, very interested in knowing about express entry, because it's a very, very popular system around the world. Express entry is a way of bringing to Canada the world's best skilled migrants, right? So it's a competitive process, but compared to a lot of other countries, etc., Canada has been fairly generous in the number of invitations and bringing in people from around the world. So express entry, of course, the all program draws, or the process of bringing migrants from around the world, opened up in July after a very, very, very long hiatus or a very long halt on these draws. So when it opened up on the 6th of July, the draw score was, of course, 557. The last draw that happened in October, the score was 500. So we've come a long way from 557 to 500. So now anybody in the upper sort of 400s, if your score is 470, 480, 490, then there is a real shot that you will get an invitation to apply in the next few months. So if you do have a profile in the system, I'm wishing you all the very best. If you've been contemplating about the Canada immigration system and you want to enter the pool, this is a very, very good time, and better now than later. I feel like it is a good time to kind of muster in all of your documents, to do your IELTS, to get your education credentials assessed, and it's a very, very good time to do everything that's required in the run-up to making an express entry profile. So I would definitely recommend anybody who's been contemplating with coming to Canada to definitely create their profiles and enter the pool. So all the very best to anybody who is already in the pool. The next draw should happen soon, and we are hoping for a score in the 480, 490 range. The third important development here was the announcement that students in Canada can now work full-time along with studying. So this was a really, really big announcement, and it sort of made big news in the world of immigration here, because if you know already, students can only work 20 hours a week along with full-time studies. So this is a way of saying your primary motive should be to come to Canada and study, and while you're studying you can work about 20 hours outside of campus, or off-campus work, as we say. But now with the latest announcement, students, there's no cap or there's no upper limit on the number of hours the students can actually work in Canada. So you can work full-time along with your studies. Now this is sort of a double-edged sword in my opinion, because it can kind of lure students to work more and to focus on work and earning money instead of keeping academics and all of their academic pursuits as their primary aim, because a lot of students do get sort of caught up in low-paying, low-skilled work, which isn't the best way of building your career here in Canada. So if anybody in Canada is watching me, if you know of students in Canada, I would really encourage you guys to pass on this video and to share the word. But my encouragement to all students would be to definitely work, because it's important to get work experience in Canada, but to really limit the number of hours in order to make academics your primary focus, because that's your runway to a viable, to a gratifying sort of work experience, or to building that career arc in Canada. And so, while this is a great way of meeting Canada's labor shortage at the moment, which is significant, students will have to act with discernment. So that was the announcement on students. The other big change that is about to come into effect is the change in the knock code system. So if you're familiar with the immigration system here at all, you will know that for every employment or for every work experience or employment type, Canada does gradations, right? So every employment type is given a number, a code. So that sort of code system, what we call NOC, National Occupation Classification, is going to change now. So we were using the NOC 216 version, and now we are going to move to using the NOC 2021 version, which is, it's very similar to the NOC code that we were using already, but that new system is going to be called TEER, so it's going to be based on training, education, employment, employment, responsibilities. So it's pretty much mirrors the earlier knock system, but I think about 16 knock codes that were earlier ineligible for PR are now eligible, and 3 that were eligible are now ineligible. So if you are creating your Express Entry profiles, pay close attention to your knock codes and look at classifications and gradations as per the new knock system, or the knock 2021 version. At the very end, I would also like to talk about what's likely to happen to Express Entry in 2023. There's a lot of news and word about Express Entry changing, or Canada no longer no longer sort of supporting Express Entry as a system of bringing in applicants or bringing in skilled workers, etc. Now that isn't true. What is true is the fact that Express Entry is going to change in nature a little bit, right? So Express Entry, at the moment we know that as far as Express Entry goes, CRS scores are pretty much, the definitive word on whether you're going to get an invitation or not, because only if you have the required scores that the government sets will you get an invitation. Going forward, however, in tandem with CRS scores, Express Entry is also going to facilitate other sort of factors, like say for example your education or your educational qualification, or your work experience, or even your language abilities, etc. So say if I were to give you an example, say if you are a registered nurse and you're a part of the Express Entry pool, nurses are not, they don't rack up the highest scores, and they are not the most popular knock codes that are picked up. But to meet shortages in the healthcare system, if the Government of Canada wants to prioritize nurses being picked up from the Express Entry pool, then they can do that. So in conjunction to your CRS scores, the fact that you are a registered nurse or have the qualifications or other work experience, etc., you could be picked up. So similarly for, say for example, aircraft mechanics, etc., if you have the license to practice, you might be picked up in tandem with your CRS scores. So that's why the Express Entry system will now have the flexibility to pick up people depending on labor shortages and depending on the kind of workers Canada really wants, in addition to the fact that people with the highest knock codes will be prioritized. So these are some of the latest developments, guys. I've done a really quick blitzing through some of the important pertinent points at the moment, but of course there's a lot going on in the world of immigration that I will continue to address in my videos in the days to come. But apart from that, if you want me to talk on anything, happy to address those points as well. So this was just a quick catching up, and I'm really glad to be back here and to be talking to you guys and engaging in this sort of session and giving you guys information about Canada and the immigration system here, and I will continue to do that in the days and videos to come as well. So thank you for your time, thank you for watching me, and I will definitely see you in my next one. Bye bye guys, see you soon.